Mystery Mike. Alrighty, thank y'all for tuning in. Well, we sure do have a big week coming up. This is one of my favorite holidays coming up, Thanksgiving. It's just so neat. All the family gets together, good food, and it always represents hunting to me. And a lot of other people, it's like the start of the deer season for firearm. And since this weekend's coming up, firearm season, I'd like to go show you some of the things that I take with me when I go hunting. And this is also opening day coming up for Pennsylvania. Now, years ago, Pennsylvania used to open up on Monday. And I used to like that because if I wanted to hunt Pennsylvania, I could, opening day, I could hunt Maryland opening day and then Pennsylvania opening day. But now that they changed it, I can't hunt Pennsylvania opening day if I would like to go, but it's probably a lot more convenient for other people. So whatever more convenient for the folks that live there, hopefully, it serves them better. So I'm going to go talk a little bit about some of the things that I take with me and what you should have on you. You should definitely always have your fluorescent orange vest. Make sure you wear it in and wear it out. Have it on you at all times. Make sure you have an orange hat. This is an orange mask. Then you can roll it up like a hat. So you want to make sure you have this on when you're hunting all the time. You never can be too safe. So make sure you put that on in and out of the woods. Okay. This is a red bag. It's not fluorescent orange. It don't have to be fluorescent orange, but if you have a fluorescent orange bag, that's great. It is red, so it is still good. Some of the things that I will be putting in that bag is this here. I'll put around my neck if it gets real cold. You will be surprised the amount of wind and cold that you can take with something around your neck. And the reason why I like to be this warm, because on opening day, I don't know, after the first couple hours, folks get cold. What do? They start moving around. What do they also do? They'll push the deer around. You don't want to move. You want to stay tight because they could really push a nice big buck to you. I like to stay in the stand and keep warm. And this is one way. This slips over your head. Inside's a camo for if you're squirrel hunting or something. But anyway, so that will go in the bag. Put that in there. Then gloves. I have two different type gloves. Now these are considered mittens because there's no fingers, and your hands actually keep more warm because they're together and they're not separated. And then your fingers can come through the slit there to find the safety in the trigger. So I'll take them with me. And then I just have some other gloves here. These are camo mittens. These are camo mittens for like crossbow hunting in there all year season. I won't take those though. I'll just take that orange. And then here, make sure you have your field tag. My field tag's not in here, so make sure you put a field tag in here. Mine must have fell out somewhere. I gotta get another one out of my hunting book. I have a pencil so you can fill out your field tag and something to tie your field tag. I have 2 zip ties to tie the field tag to the deer. Now, if it's a trophy, you won't want to do this, but what I usually do, if it's not a trophy, I'll put a slit in the deer's ear, and when you put the slit in the deer's ear and you tie the zip tie through the ear and the field tag, tuck the field tag down in the ear so when you're pulling the deer out, it don't get ripped off. But be careful when you make that slit that you do not cut your finger. It can happen so easy and so fast. Now, if it's a nice trophy and you don't want to put that slit in the ear, even though you really wouldn't see it when it's mounted, I would still rather not. You can put that on its leg and just keep an eye on it, or on the antler if it's a buck. But when you put it on other areas, just keep an eye on it that it don't get ripped off. And like I said, you can see the sandwich bag. Then make sure your field tag's in there, your pencil to fill it out, and your zip ties to tie it onto the deer you just harvested. So that will also go in my bag. Another thing, I don't know what firearm I'm going to use yet, and make sure whatever shells, ammo that you're using, that you have them contained so they're not rolling around in the bag for safety reasons and for noise reasons. And if you hear my dog in the background with her nails walking across the floor, which I'm sure you do, that's what it is. You wouldn't believe how hand warmers help. If your hands start to get cold, hand warmers, they really do help. Make sure you get a good brand though, but these work well. They even got them where you can put them in your shoes, but it will help you stay in that deer stand longer. So that will also go in the bag. A knife. This is my favorite knife. The 119 buck knife. That is my favorite knife. It's a little big. I like to go light, but I live at home here when I go hunting, and I'm blessed. And I don't have to lug it back in the woods a mile. I go in a good bit, but it's not a mile. So if I'm a little on the heavy side, I don't mind taking that all in. So this will be what I'll be taking. Now, if you want to go lighter, you can go ahead and just use a littler knife. Now, this is probably something that most people don't do, but I'm very conscientious of my hearing. I'm around loud noises all the time, and if I wouldn't wear ear protection when I'm driving equipment, chainsaw, or shooting, my hearing would probably be going by now. Now, it's hard to do this because if you see a 10-point buck, you know, you can't really be moving around and putting headphones on before you shoot. But what I usually do, I'll be sitting in my stand and I'll take the headphones and I'll put them over my leg. And if I see a deer at a far distance, I'll put my headphones on nice and slow so that deer don't see me. There's sometimes where, a buck will catch you off guard and he'll be really close and you don't have time to put these on, and if you don't want to miss the deer, you may not be getting them on. But the majority of the time, if you do it slow, you can get them on. That's up to you, but I recommend it because I value my ears, because I think of down the road hunting. You imagine hunting in the woods and not being able to hear. People that can hear and hear so many feet. Put some of this on a little tree, a little sapling, something sticking up that you can see and look back and see how the deer is running. And when it rains, it's all biodegradable. Yep, it'll right away. Really does a good job. And yes, it can be for that too. You know what I mean? And with all kidding aside, if you do happen to do that in the woods for, you have an emergency, you just drink, say, a lot of chocolate milk or something, please be careful, because think of a deer tail. It's all white. And if you're hunting in a public area where there could be a lot of hunters and you have to pull down your pants, kind of hide your butt, it's kind of big and white, and make sure you're not like wearing a big white shirt. I just don't like to show a lot of white, plus you want to hide yourself anyway. You wouldn't want to be shot in the old one eye, if you know what I mean. So always, always, always be safe. And I don't care if this is for a first time hunter or a seasoned hunter. You get a big buck. It's very exciting, and your adrenaline is pumping. You go ahead and clean that deer out, and you start gutting them. You always gotta take your time. I don't care how excited you are when you're inside and you're taking those guts out, and you got your hand in there and a knife in there, and you're pulling on the heart and you're cleaning it. Take your time. Make sure you know where that knife is and where your hand is with that heart. You can't see it, but you can definitely feel. And you gotta remember, if the where you shot him, if the ribs are broken, they can cut you. And who knows, maybe last year, or he might have been shot during archery season and got away with a arrowhead inside him. That's rare. You don't see that much, but it does happen sometimes. We don't like when that happens. We like to always make sure we get them, but unfortunately sometimes that happens. And deer can really heal and live with no problem, and there could be an arrowhead up in there. You don't know, so just be careful. Always remember there could be an arrowhead up in there. Where you shot, the ribs where it breaks could cut you. And take your time, clean, and just be careful, because you're excited, you're happy, you're thankful, you're thanking God you just got this nice big buck, and you're so excited you're going over there and to cut like that. Take your time. Anytime you're using a knife on a deer, just be careful and take your time. And another big thing is when you harvest a deer, make sure, once again, you're excited, make sure that gun is on safety. And I never go up the stand with my gun loaded. I never go down the stand with my gun loaded. My gun don't get loaded until I'm in the stand, and it gets unloaded when I go down the stand. Once again, when you're going over to the deer you harvest, please, please make sure your gun is on safety. You never can be too safe. And here's another thing. You're going to say, oh, Mike, don't be silly. Everybody knows this. But look, everybody may not know this. You definitely also want to have a deer dragger in your bag. And I have a special one I don't want to show you because I like to get a patent on it. And who knows, one day put it on the market. But you want to make sure you have a good type of dragger to drag the deer in your bag. And make sure that you drag the deer with the hair, not against it. In other words, don't pull him from his back legs out. Pull him from his front legs. Well, no, pull him from his head front ways out. And always, like I said, have a good dragger, because you'll need that. Unless you live where you can go ahead and come back home and get a four-wheeler and put them in the four-wheeler, or a truck and put them in the truck. close to the animal you have harvested. You just really got to think about where you're hunting and what you need. When I used to go to Green Ridge and I used to hike back, about a mile, good mile back in the woods, I would go ahead and take more things. And yeah, my load was heavy, but we would take our time, and I didn't like going too heavy. I made it as light as possible, but I was going back to sit all day. I had my lunch, I had everything with me. I would sit from sun up to sundown if I needed to. And here's another thing. Depending on how cold it is, we all dress for that. But if you're walking a fair amount of distance, now where I live, I don't walk real far, but I still do this. I'll dress warm, but my big jacket, my big one-piece suit, I'll carry with me under my arms with my bag, because the last thing you want to do is be all sweated up at that stand, because that's a sure way to get cold, and that's a sure way to be uncomfortable. So carry that with you. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Good luck hunting out there, and more than anything, be safe, make memories, and have fun with your family on Thanksgiving.